Once upon a time, in the warm and sunny hills of Jamaica, Anansi the spider was up to his usual mischief. Anansi was known all over the island for being a trickster, always finding clever ways to fill his belly without doing any work. And let me tell you, Anansi's belly was always hungry. One bright morning, as Anansi was walking through the village, he noticed something strange. All the villagers were gathered around a big, beautiful mango tree at the edge of the village, their eyes wide with wonder. Anansi, being as curious as a cat but much sneakier, quickly skittered over to see what the fuss was about. As he squeezed his way to the front of the crowd, Anansi saw the most amazing sight: ripe, golden mangoes hanging from every branch of the tree, swaying gently in the breeze. And these weren't just any mangoes, no, these mangoes were the biggest, juiciest mangoes Anansi had ever seen. His mouth began to water as he imagined sinking his teeth into one of those sweet, succulent fruits. But there was something even more incredible. The tree was talking. Come on, come all! Come and pick the finest mangoes you ever taste. The tree boomed in a deep, cheerful voice. But be warned, only the honest can pick me fruit. Any liar who try, me going to expose dem fee who dem really are. The villagers whispered to each other, unsure if they should believe the talking tree. But the temptation of those delicious mangoes was too strong. One by one, they stepped forward to pick a mango. And sure enough, as long as they were honest, the mangoes fell easily into their hands. Anansi's eyes sparkled with excitement. Me must have one of those mangoes, he thought. But how me going to fool the tree? Anansi decided to watch and wait. He noticed that everyone who picked a mango had to tell the tree something true about themselves before the fruit would drop. If they told a lie, the tree would shout, "Liar, liar," and no mango would fall. So Anansi hatched a plan. He would trick the tree into giving him all the mangoes it had. The next morning, Anansi returned to the tree, a big grin on his face. He was wearing a bright red scarf and strutting around like he owned the place. The villagers, seeing Anansi, whispered among themselves. They knew Anansi was up to something, but they couldn't guess what. "Good morning, Mr. Mango Tree," Anansi called out, tipping an imaginary hat. "Me hear say you have the best mangoes in the whole island. Well, me comfy pick some fee me belly." The tree rumbled in laughter. "Welcome, Anansi. You can pick me mangoes, but you must tell me something true about yourself first. If you lie, no mango for you," Anansi chuckled to himself. "This going to be easy," he thought. And then, with all the confidence in the world, Anansi said, "Me is the most honest spider in the whole wide world." The tree paused for a moment, then shouted, "Liar, liar. You can't have me mangoes." Anansi was shocked. How did the tree know he was lying? But he wasn't ready to give up. He decided to try a different approach. Me understand now," Anansi said, quickly thinking on his feet. "Let me tell you something else. Me never steal from anybody." The tree shook its branches and the villagers burst out laughing. "Liar, liar." The tree shouted again. "You not getting even one mango from me." Anansi was getting frustrated. But he was also determined. He took a deep breath and tried to think of something that was true, something that the tree couldn't possibly deny. "Alright, Mr. Tree," Anansi said, his voice dripping with sweetness. "Let me tell you the real truth. Me is the best dancer in the whole village." Now, this was actually true. Anansi was a fantastic dancer. But just as the tree was about to drop a mango, one of the villagers shouted, "But Anansi, you only have 6 left feet. How are you going to be the best dancer?" Everyone burst into laughter and the tree joined in. "Liar, liar." It bellowed once more and no mango fell. Anansi was furious. He was so close, but now the whole village was laughing at him. He knew he had to come up with something that no one could argue with. Suddenly, an idea popped into his head. It was risky, but it was the only thing he could think of. "Alright, you win this time," Anansi said, pretending to walk away. But then he turned back and added, "But me going to tell you something that's 100% true. Me can talk to the spirits in the forest." The villagers gasped and the tree fell silent. This was something they had never heard before. Was Anansi telling the truth? Seeing the look of doubt on everyone's face, Anansi seized the moment. Yes, me can talk to these spirits. And not just any spirits, the ancient, powerful ones who protect the island. In fact, me just spoke to one yesterday, and him tell me that today, me going to eat the juiciest mangoes in the world. The tree didn't know what to say. It wasn't sure if Anansi was lying this time or not. And in its confusion, it did something it had never done before. It dropped not one, but two mangoes into Anansi's hands. Anansi couldn't believe his luck. He grabbed the mangoes and took off running, laughing all the way home. The villagers were left standing in shock, wondering if Anansi had really spoken to spirits. As soon as Anansi got home, he sliced open the mangoes and took a big bite. The sweet juice dripped down his chin, and he sighed with satisfaction. "Ah, this is the life," he said, leaning back in his chair. But as Anansi enjoyed his mangoes, something strange began to happen. The mangoes started to grow back right inside his belly. Before Anansi knew it, his stomach was as big as a barrel, and it kept growing. "Oh no, what's happening to me?" Anansi cried out, clutching his belly. He rolled off his chair and onto the floor, where he began to bounce around like a big, round ball. "Help! Somebody help me!" But there was no one to help. The villagers were too busy laughing at the sight of Anansi bouncing around his house, unable to stop. The more he tried to stand up, the more he rolled around, bumping into furniture and knocking things over. Finally, Anansi's belly grew so big that it lifted him off the ground and rolled him right out the door, down the hill, and back to the mango tree. The tree, seeing Anansi rolling towards it, chuckled and said, "Anansi, you too greedy. Now you have to pay the price for lying and stealing." Anansi, desperate to stop, pleaded with the tree. "Please, Mr. Tree, me promise me never going to lie again. Just make me belly stop growing." The tree thought for a moment, then said, "Alright, Anansi, me going to help you, but you must do one thing for me. Anything." Anansi shouted, "Just make me belly go back to normal." The tree smiled. "You must return the mangoes you stole, and then you must share the next batch of mangoes with everyone in the village. No more tricks, no more lies." Anansi, who was now as round as a coconut, quickly agreed. "Yes, yes, me promise." And with that, the tree wiggled its branches, and Anansi's belly began to shrink back to its normal size. The mangoes he had eaten popped out and rolled back to the tree, where they reattached themselves to the branches. Anansi, finally back to his regular self, breathed a sigh of relief. "Me guess me learn me lesson," he muttered as he dusted himself off. But deep down, Anansi was already planning his next trick. After all, he was Anansi, and he could never stay out of trouble for too long. And so, the story of Anansi and the talking mango tree spread throughout the island, bringing laughter wherever it was told. The villagers never forgot how Anansi bounced down the hill like a giant mango, and they always kept an eye on him whenever he came near the mango tree again.